In the high-altitude silence of the Caucasus Mountains, where the air is thin enough to make a lesser man's lungs scream for mercy, there is a path that leads to nowhere but the sky. This is not just a place of rock and snow. It is a crucible where the human spirit is forged in the fire of absolute, unwavering discipline. Imagine a young man named Elias. Elias is talented, perhaps more talented than anyone in his small village. He has the strength of an ox and the speed of a mountain lion. But Elias has a problem that plagues most of humanity. He is a slave to his feelings. When the sun is high and the morning is warm, Elias trains like a demon. But when the frost creeps across the window pane and his muscles ache with a deep, pulsing fatigue, Elias stays in bed. He tells himself he is listening to his body. He tells himself that he needs recovery. But in reality, Elias is just another man addicted to the comfort of his own excuses. He is the person we all see in the mirror when we decide that today is not the day. To understand the weight of greatness, we must first understand the anatomy of a real man's addiction. Most people spend their lives chasing shadows. They are addicted to the cheap thrill of a cigarette, the numbing fog of a drink, or the fleeting validation of a stranger's gaze. They waste their hours in a digital trance, letting the most precious resource in the universe, time, slip through their fingers like dry sand. But there is a different kind of addiction, one that doesn't hollow you out, but fills you with a terrifying power. It is the addiction to discipline. It is the craving for the early wake-up call when the world is still dark and silent. It is the hunger for prayer, for training, and for the heavy, meaningful silence that follows a day of total exertion. Discipline is not a tool you use when you feel motivated. It is the engine that moves you when motivation has long since died in the cold. It is the voice that whispers, "I go anyway," when your body is broken and your mind is begging for a reprieve. Elias watches the champions from afar, seeing their gold belts and hearing the roar of the crowds, but he doesn't see the sacrifice. He doesn't see the thousands of mornings where the champion felt exactly like he does, tired, lonely, and full of doubt. The difference is that the champion has murdered his excuses. In the world of elite performance, especially in the brutal landscape of the UFC, there is no room for the man who thinks he is number 10 or number 15. If you enter the cage with the mindset of a runner-up, you have already lost. You might as well go home, sit on your comfortable sofa, and watch the real warriors through a screen. There is a brutal honesty in the mountains of Dagestan that the modern world has forgotten. They don't push people there. They don't beg you to be great. If you don't want it, the doors are wide open. You are free to go back to the warmth of your mother's kitchen, where she will give you a hot breakfast and a soft bed and ask nothing of you. You can live a long, safe, unremarkable life. But if you choose to stay, if you choose to step into that circle of fire, you lose the right to complain. Nobody cares if you are tired. The world is a cold, indifferent machine that keeps turning whether you are in the lead or under the wheels. If you disappeared tomorrow, the sun would still rise, and new champions would still be crowned. Their names would be written in the history books, while yours faded into the mist. This is the choice Elias faces every single morning. Does he want to be a name that echoes through the ages? Or does he want to be a ghost? To put your name on that wall, you must sacrifice everything. You must be willing to trade your youth, your health, and your comfort for a few moments of eternal glory. It is a psychological game played at the highest possible stakes. The secret of the champion is not in the strength of his grip or the power of his strike, but in the absolute control of his emotional state. He must be a master of his own internal weather, remaining calm while the storm rages around him. Consider the moment when everything falls apart. For Elias, it was a minor setback that sent him spiraling. But for a true champion, the setbacks are where the legend is actually born. Think back to 2014, a time when a certain warrior had just reached the top of his game. He had beaten the best. His path to the title was clear. And then, in a heartbeat, his knee betrayed him. An ACL tear is not just a physical injury. It is a psychological execution. You spend a year in the dark, fighting through the pain of surgery and the slow, agonizing crawl of rehabilitation. You finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. You step back onto the mats, and then it happens again. Another year gone, another surgery, another mountain of doubt. Then come the broken ribs. The body is screaming that it has had enough. It is in these moments, when you are lying in a hospital bed, wondering why the universe is conspiring against you, that the true nature of your spirit is revealed. Elias would have quit. Most of us would have quit. We would have looked at the scars and the lost years and decided that it was unmeant to be. We would have blamed luck or fate or God. But the champion has a different conversation. He talks to his father, the man who built him from the ground up. He asks if it's time to retire, and the answer he receives is a cold, hard mirror. You can give up if you want. It is your choice, but remember the years of work we put in. Remember that you are only 26. Your prime is not today. It is years away. If you give up now, you are not just giving up on a belt. You are giving up on the man you were meant to become. This is the fire that burns away the dross. It is the realization that pride isn't about what you have won, but about the fact that you never, ever gave up when the world told you it was over. There is a cost to this kind of life that most people are unwilling to pay. We live in a society that preaches balance, but greatness is inherently unstable. If you want to be the best in the world at something, you cannot be a normal person. You cannot have a normal social life or spend every weekend relaxing with your family. If you choose to be the best family man, that is a noble and beautiful path, and you should walk it with pride. But do not lie to yourself and say you can be that and also be the greatest warrior on the planet. To reach the summit, you must be singular in your focus. You must sacrifice your time, your health, and every ounce of your energy. You must be willing to be misunderstood by those who prefer the safety of the valley. You must become a monk of the mats, a servant to the grind, until the work itself becomes your prayer. Elias finally understands that his talent was a curse because it made him think he could skip the steps. He realizes that the man who loves the walk will go further than the man who loves the destination. The destination is just a trophy, a piece of metal that will eventually gather dust. But the walk, the discipline, the early morning runs in the biting cold, the silence of the training hall when everyone else has gone home, that is where the soul is built. That is the true reward. When you reach that level of discipline, you don't need a coach to scream at you. You don't need a motivational video to get you out of bed. You move because that is what you are. You have transformed yourself from a creature of impulse into a monument of will. Imagine the final transition of a man who has given everything. He stands at the end of his career, not with regret, but with a profound sense of peace. He has no more excuses to make because he never made them in the first place. He has no what-ifs haunting his dreams because he left every drop of his blood on the canvas. He looks back at the injuries, the loneliness, and the sacrifices not as tragedies, but as the necessary payments for his greatness. He realizes that God gave him the strength not just to win, but to endure. This is the ultimate state of the disciplined mind, to be able to look at a life of hardship and say, Alhamdulillah, thank you for the struggle, for it made me who I am. As we look at our own lives, we have to ask ourselves which path we are walking. Are we like the old Elias, waiting for the perfect conditions to start our journey? Are we waiting for the feeling of motivation to strike us like lightning? Or are we ready to become addicted to the only thing that can actually set us free? Freedom isn't doing whatever you want, whenever you feel like it. That is the definition of a slave. True freedom is the ability to command yourself to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. It is the power to build a life of respect and peace through the sheer force of your habits. The mountain is waiting, and the path is steep, but the view from the top is only reserved for those who are willing to suffer for it. The story of the champion is the story of a man who decided that his excuses or not as loud as his purpose. It is a reminder that we are all capable of incredible things if we are willing to murder our comfort. Start today, not tomorrow, not when the weather improves, and not when you feel rested. Start now, in the middle of your tiredness, in the center of your doubt. Build the discipline until the discipline becomes you. If you found value in this exploration of the warrior's mind and want to continue deconstructing the psychology of greatness, then walk this path with us. Subscribe to Deep Mind, and let's continue to build something that lasts.